Vici, sure, you do have a front line. You do have team fight potential, honestly, with the Trundle in front as well as Senna in the back and, you know, Cassidy jumping in. But, of course, it is still more of this side lane-oriented composition.
I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see as well how Best 16 is going to do on this Graves up against Ike's on the Trundle. Ike's the MVP of game number 1 when he was playing on the Jarvan. And a similar big old frontline champion for him here in the Trundle. But Graves has been looking terrifying on this patch.
Graves has been a really lane-dominant champion. I really want to see how this jungle matchup affects the mid lane, because typically you'd want to see Fofo try to get an early push into Forge's tower, get the bounce back, and then, you know, try to freeze him out and punish him on his side of the lane. So that's what I'm looking for in the mid lane.
We'll see if they're going to be able to do exactly that.
I love this because Forge, being extremely manly and bold, he's not one of those people that takes fleet footwork on casting. Oh, you need to get through landing phase? Not me. I'm playing for scaling damage and just going to hit like a truck in the late game.
He has gone for the Doran shield still, so he'll have some level of health regen. But also, it's important to mention, he's against a Twisted Fate. Twisted Fate is not exactly going to put on masses of pressure in the mid lane.
True, it's definitely not an unbearable matchup. It is still about Twisted Fate trying to get the wave on his side, punishing with gold card and, you know, best 16 coming into the gank.
Big trade in this bottom side, actually, is BLG are desperately trying to defend their ward, and they are going to be able to do so, but they're not winning out this trade, which is kind of surprising when they're the ones with the Kalista with Hail of Blades here. They're going to be the ones to clear a ward. Shinmo getting really low, though. Could be actually in trouble. Wings now having to back away as well. This is a ridiculous level 1 fight. Everybody survives, though.
Like you just said, it's strange that BLG lost out with having the Kalista with Hail of Blades, but it does look like Shinmo just got punished very hard before Wings was even in range to do anything.
Yeah. And Wings actually used a lot of his autos onto Hung while he had the Hail of Blades active, so not really ideal, and Tahm Kench able to just kind of heal that back up. So all things considered, very heavy advantage early on in favor of iBoy on the center. And ultimately, you know, he's going for the Glacial Augment, so he's going lethality this game, not going for the new build with Grasp and with the Frozen Mallet. We've got to fight in the mid lane, though. Fofo's in trouble. Flashes away, and the flashes to follow. First blood for Ikes.
You know what's really disappointing is Fofo was doing what we talked about. He pushed out that first wave, was trying to secure the bounce back. He even warded to the bottom side, but the second he walks back in the lane, this is what Vici did all split long, and I would even argue they're one of the best teams at finding these mid-jungle, not 2v2s, but setting up these ganks in the mid lane. They're really one of the only teams that proactively play around this setup.
And you know what? You told me this was going to be a quiet early game, but not so far. We've already got First Blood and these battles in the bottom lane as well.
Gold card?
There's no teleport. There's no flash, sorry, from Forge. There's a flash from Best, though, as he's going to be able to finish this kill off with one more auto.
And now we want to see... Ooh, are they just going to push it? I was going to say, because Fofo can just try to freeze that. Okay, he's not. Cool. Fofo can just try to hold that wave and then punish Forge once he TP's back in.
He's going to try and do exactly that. Shinmo actually being forced to recall here underneath the tower. Wings not having a fun time here. And this is one of the things about Glacial Augment, right? You don't have to wait until you get the Frozen Mallet. Against a Kalista, getting that movement speed slow right from the start of the game is a huge boon.
Oh, true. You're right. He's not going with that grass build, which a lot of players do seem to favor, but...
Oh, no. Forge is in trouble. He's going to be fine, though. The slow from Smokescreen, not too significant this early on.
For Senna, the Glacial build just feels better. Of course, Umbral Glaive just much cheaper than Mallet.
We've got another 1v1 going on. Cube turns it around after the cooldowns are down from King, and he wants to go for the kill. Both on 100 HP here. Cube the one that has to back off.
Yeah, Kingen just doing very well in this lane, honestly. You have a Rangerous melee matchup, but showing he's been doing a good job playing around his E, and of course, took the Grasp, which is more of a lane-dominant rune than the Conqueror.
And also important to mention that, you know, Camille's passive, giving her that damage shield, is so crucial when you're in burst trades, and that's exactly what Jace wants to do. He wants to burst.
Exactly. Well, that's why the dynamic of the lane is so important on how you play around your hook shot as well as your passive.
Just constant battling in this bottom side.
But going back to the Senna, I was saying from like a feel perspective, it probably feels much better to play the Glacial Augment build because, again, Your first item comes in much sooner. Umbral Glaive's only 2,400 gold as compared to Mallet being about 3,100.
I mean, it helps that Umbral Glaive is also completely broken. So
yeah, exactly. So
any lethality build feels great right now because you could just build that item. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that especially in the earlier stages, it feels better. But I think later on into the game, Grasp feels a lot
yes,
stronger.
and also probably the fact that he does have the Tahm Kench with him doesn't feel like he needs that extra health coming out from the Grasp or the Mallet. So already has that inherent safetiness right alongside him.
So everything's kind of quieted down. We had a bit of a blast of early aggression in that mid lane. Both junglers going for that. But now we see Best 16 moving up to the top side.
Fofo has his ultimate, so this is where we want to start seeing BLG make proactive plays, and really either side of the map works. You would expect it to be top because you have a Camille versus Jace matchup, very fragile, obviously. Whichever way gets snowballing is going to win out hard the rest of the game.
Yeah, plus you've got a Tahm Kench to deal with at the bottom side of the map. It's always going to be difficult to gank onto a Tahm Kench. Fofo's been spotted, though, and Ix is just going to sit nearby because you cannot go for that Destiny, because as soon as you do, Ix is just going to drop a pillar and you're ruined.
Yeah, they're telegraphing the play way too much, but great job by Vici playing around that.
Ooh. Or you could just go for the Destiny onto Ix, and then he can't pillar you. He's going to be in a whole heap of trouble, but Forge steps forward to body block for him.
That was a great pillar, too, coming out from Ix, but I love Shinmo coming out of nowhere, just getting up so quickly, but still, you use the Destiny, and you got nothing for it. That's actually a really long cooldown.
And on top of that, it's really important to mention the amount of pressure that Best has been giving into that mid lane. They're even on CS right now.
And you feel fine as Forge.
You don't feel so fine as Cube, though, because he could be in serious trouble right now. The minions are going to be there. Kingen tanking up the tower for now. He's actually going to commit to this one. Hextech Ultimatum keeps him alive for now, but there's a Tahm Kench, and Kingen, you're going to go down on this one. Another auto, and Cube takes it.
Great play from Hung. Great reactive TP, as well as Cube doing a great job to stay alive. So they went out on both sides of the map.
I feel like Best needed to commit to that.
Yeah.
Because if Best could have tanked the tower after the Hextech Ultimatum, I think Kingen can finish him off and escape.
And when the game comes to scaling, we definitely favor the side of Vici. But like you said, I also think it'll be a lot of a macro game of how well can BLG pull the members of Vici around the map with the Twisted Fate ultimate, but they have a Tahm Kench with Teleport as well as Abyssal Voyage, as well as the Dawning Shadows from Senna, so pretty much everything on Vici's side favoring them in the late game.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when we look at a late game composition, what are the two carries that are probably the best in the late game right now? Senna and Kassadin. They're both on Vici.
Yeah, and here's the play you were talking about. Like you said, Kingen commits, and Best 16 gets out of there. He's full HP.
Shinmo as well.
Yeah, Shinmo as well, but
yeah,
like I can understand Shinmo leaving since Best left, but
yeah. He's like, well, it's doomed now, boys.
Also makes you wonder, we were talking about communication issues in Champ Select. The one Korean player got left by himself, and, you know, the two Chinese players just being like, hey, let's get out of here.
Yeah, worth mentioning as well that maybe they hadn't seen Hung just yet. I think Hung kind of arrived in the nick of time, and it might have been just as Best was getting out on the magical journey. But they're going to start the Herald here, and this could be a moment where everything kicks off. Destiny
Everyone's
on
here.
cooldown right now. But as you rightly say, BLG have all moved on up. Ike steps on in.
Oh,
he just steals it away. It's not even stealing. He just literally took it like a candy from a baby. Shinmo going to be rooted. That's going to be a nice face call to keep him safe. But Fofo's gone a little too far forward. Slowed on up. Can't quite finish it. Dawning Shadow across everyone. They're so low. Ike's is desperate to finish anyone off. But they just can't do it. They don't have the cooldowns.
I feel like the way you described it was perfect. He didn't even steal it. He just walked up and said, this is mine. And Best 16 said, okay, yes, Mr. Ixer, have a nice day. And just, you know.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, no. Best is not having a fun game 2 here. But you know what? There's still time. He's got a kill. He's got some gold for himself. I still believe that Best can upgrade from Best 16 to Best 17.
This game is looking rough for the side of BLG. And it sucks, too, because seeing BLG's comp, I'm like, okay, this composition is very interesting, but I really like what Vici answered into it. The only thing I'm not too big of a fan of, honestly, is the Jace. But still, the rest of your comp is so beautiful. has the way to survive the early game to bridge into that point where you're strong and has just enough global pressure to answer the Twisted Fate.
I was trying to figure out why Forge was ignited there, and I realized Unsealed Spellbook, the ignite doesn't matter that much. I was like, hang on. iBoy just going to go shy on the route there. Well, let's take a bit of a recap on what's been happening so far this game. The stun goes through onto iBoy because, you know, I said that Wings was going to be able to kind of have his way with this bottom lane. That is absolutely not what has been happening here. It's all been about iBoy and Hung.
iBoy and Hung have just looked so good. Hung especially is just really impressing me this game. Not that iBoy isn't, but I guess as an AD carry, right, you have a very like rigid job that you're just kind of supposed to do, and you do it well or don't, to where as a support, are you influencing the map is so massive, and Hung's been doing it great.
Oh, to the skies out of Cube, denies Kingan's escape. Honestly, Cube, that was just beautiful. That was something to behold.
The players on Vici, it's not even just like the teamwork that we mentioned. Even just mechanically, they're playing so well this series.
Oh, Cube, I'm impressed. You know what? You said you didn't really like the Jace pick that much. When he does that, I'm a fan.
There
you know
we
what?
go.
That just everything now is allowed.
But picks like this, right? Because I talked about Sword Art with Bard earlier. These kind of picks. Ooh.
Wings is in trouble. Dawning Shadow wasn't. Oh no, it's just come off cooldown a second ago. Might be able to get onto Shinmo instead.
Oh.
Dawning Shadow flashed away from. Shinmo barely survives.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let's stop praising Hung. iBoy is a god. And
Yeah. Dude,
this is hard to watch for BLG.
iBoy was kind of struggling in spring. I have to say it, like, especially in the later stages, he had a few games where it was a little rough.
Talking to people who... You can finish.
I was just going to say, in summer, he looks amazing. Yeah. We're 2 games in, but I'm sold.
Talking to people who watched LPL for a long time, they were still very hung up that iBoy was great. And I just couldn't agree. And, like, no matter if... What is it? Form is temporary and class is forever. I think that's the saying. His form in spring just wasn't there. But this series, he looks so good.
And showing why this center still matters, why it's still a pick that you can prioritize. Because a lot of LPL teams really don't care about the center. They really don't want to go for the late game damage and sacrifice early game presence. But against a Kalista, it's fantastic.
I mean, especially when your team is just winning all around the map. We haven't seen one impactful Twisted Fate ultimate. We're 12 minutes into the game. Nicely
done there by Shinmo to deny the Herald, though. But you're absolutely right. Twisted Fate from Fofo. Not looking that great so far. Kingan losing out that trade pretty handedly. And that was really nice from Cube. You notice he waits on the Thundering Blow until the shield goes down. A shield waited is a shield wasted.
I like that.
There you go.
And Vici picking up the second dragon of the game. So not only do they outscale, but they are also winning in the early stages. Of course, BLG do still have the tools to make something happen.
Oh, Best wants to make something happen right now. Going for a 1v1 with Cube. I mean, he's used everything, and it wasn't enough.
It didn't look like that play was to try and kill him from, you know, the sequence of abilities that he used. It does look like they just want to force down some of these turret plates and get gold onto Kingan.
Oh, is that? Oh, it's the TP coming out from Cube. Ikes is going to knock Kingan back, trying to keep him in play, keep him here so Cube can join in. Flash available. Forge coming in, though, as well. They might just go for a dive here. So the Skies onto Best. It looks like they'll get away. The Destiny used just to force it out. And he returns to the mid lane.
Oh, this is really heartbreaking to see, because the tools we were just going to start talking about for BLG to make these explosive plays are the Destiny and the Tempered Fate, which we've seen every time used reactively.
Yeah.
So BLG just constantly on the back foot from the pressure that Vici's creating.
It's worth mentioning, though, that right now Fofo hasn't fallen behind. And that's the key thing with Twisted Fate, right, is don't fall behind. If you fall behind, you're basically not a champion, but so long as you're even, so long as you're able to get your items, so long as you can get to the Lich Bane in a little bit as well, we've seen the split push damage. We've seen how quickly Twisted Fate can take down a tower. It's like 4 auto attacks. The
problem is he's up against a Jace and a Kassadin, so I don't think a Twisted Fate wants to be... At some point he can go in the lane against the Jace, right? But you're never going to be able to go in that lane against the Kassadin. And the good thing is, no matter what, you will still be able to punish enemy mistakes with that ultimate, but we're 15 minutes in, he hasn't even been able to do that once, so...
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you can't do it in the early game, when the game is relatively telegraphed in general, bit of a 1v1, not going to turn into too much here. King is just going to back away, realizes that's not a fight he wants. But yeah, if you can't do it in the early game when the game is relatively telegraphed, when these late game snap macro decisions need to happen, are you going to have the stuff?
That's true, and Vici just going to be able to pick up another objective and just going to be threatened by iBoy's presence once again. Just like last game when he solo walked into the top side, it's almost the same situation. Solo walks into the top side jungle, not caring what the enemy does.
Honestly, right now, BLG are contesting LNG for the team that wants to do the least in any game. Because when we saw Suning versus LNG, they kind of just did nothing and watched themselves lose. That's what happened in Game 1 between Vici and BLG. Game number 2 is looking kind of similar.
Right, that's the weird part. In Game 1, that's actually not what happened. It's that they drafted a comp that if they did that, they probably maybe could have won.
Oh, yeah, true.
Then they did the opposite.
I mean, mostly they kind of just sat back. There was only 1 or 2 fights
but
that
they took one team fight and fell 5k gold behind, right?
True.
So
I guess it's the kind of mistake that you only need to make once.
Yeah. To where this game, I completely agree with you. It's just not a lot happening. And they tried to make that proactive put the Destiny once, right, when Shinmo roamed up, but Ike's putting down a great pillar prevented anything from happening. And
well, yeah. I mean, he was just threatening the pillar as well when the Destiny came down.
Yeah.
Like, he just didn't even need to do the pillar for a long time. Forge stunned up here. Shinmo misses on the face call, though. And that's the end of that play. I was really hoping for more, I'm not going to lie.
Me too. I don't feel like there was any need to comment or analyze anything happening. I feel like the deadpan silence probably describes the play better than
Deadpan silence says a lot for this game. That pretty much describes what's been happening between these two teams. Oh, dear. Well, we've reached an LCK state in this game. I feel like the LCK state is the LPL equivalent of a LoL state.
We're getting
Here we go. Kingan's onto Forge. Hextech Ultimatum means he cannot go anywhere. And a nice easy pickup. Best going to be the one to grab the kill.
But you're giving up mid lane turret, so is it worth it?
Yes.
No, but I guess you do have to make something happen. And at the same time, I want to go back to your point that we're in like an LCK state of the game. I feel like that's disingenuous. Nothing's going to happen. They're still... Oh, okay, they're not going to take the turret, actually.
Shinmo, that's twice now. Both Heralds completely neutralized. This Bard is looking like a strong pick.
This Bard is... It's not worthless, right? It's not like this.
That's the best compliment you can think of for Bard right now. It's not worthless.
It's more, if you let me finish, it was more, I was going to insult Twisted Fate by saying this Twisted Fate pick, which I love Twisted Fate as a champion. I think it works so well in competitive, but it is doing absolutely nothing this game.
Yeah, that's fair to say. Well, I mean, he got an assist there in that bottom lane play. That's 2 assists now. That's 100% kill participation. But Vici are going to have 100% Dragon participation here with their 3rd Drake. This is going to be Ocean Soul Point.
Ocean Soul... So we're going to have Ocean Soul up at 23:30 with a Kassadin Senna.
Yeah. That's something. Against a Callista. Against a Graves. I don't feel like they should have had pure control of every single neutral objective this game.
I'm just saying, I feel a bit cheated that we had, like, technically assuming this game continues to go the way it's going, we'll have had 5 games of League of Legends today, but I feel like 2 of them actually didn't happen. The first game was Suning, in this game don't feel like they're actually happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of sad when you watch a team just kind of roll over, show their belly, and accept defeat before the game's even begun. But that does kind of feel like what's happening.
There are many things in life that would be absolutely adorable. If a corgi does that, amazing. If, you know, like a little like kitten or something, even a giant like grizzly bear or something, I can see some like some value. But yeah, a team doing that, I'm not in.
I mean, Bard as a creature alone doing that, that's pretty cute. Bard doing that as part of a team composition, not so much.
Gragas isn't cute when he does it, but he does do it. We just kind of accept, so...
Bard gets the funny factor out of it.
Bard does.
I mean, Gragas gets
Did you see that Bard skin yesterday? The new one?
Yeah, astronaut bard or whatever it's
I
called.
don't even know what it is, but it was awesome.
Mystical space bard with his little alien tubes in the
With
floor.
the pink chroma, it was great.
I have to say, I'm with you. I like the bard. I don't know why everyone hates bard. It's so good.
Oh.
Destiny coming through. Here we go. Play onto Cube in the bottom side. Hextech ultimate, and once again, Dawning Shadow keeps him alive, and Kingan's actually getting low. Here comes Forge, and they might just turn this one around. There's a kill for the Kassadin, and he's going to make it 2 as well. Now into the rest of the fight as iBoy dishing out damage onto Wings, but he's stunned and taken down himself. Out on the magical journey, but shut down by Ike's, and Shinmo has nowhere to run. I don't think there's any CC available. Oh! He eats him at the last possible second. A double comes through for Forge.
I actually don't think we should have been that excited for that because
Dude.
whether he got away or not doesn't matter.
When nothing has happened for 20 minutes and then we get a big old fight, I'm going to get excited.
Where is our ward killing, like, cheers? Like, that's what we need, but...
We need the audiences back in the arena, damn it.
This is the cool dynamic that you were talking about, these comps, right? With, like, kind of the 3D macro chest of where we have King and Split pushing in the side lane. It's like, okay, cool. We can have the TF ultimate come out, but guess what? Hung can follow, and hey, we can have a Tempered Fate from Bard. How does all of this interact? And it's all really interesting and cool, but in the end, Vici are so far ahead, they're outscaling, and it doesn't matter if they kill Cube because the rest of Vici gets here. Look at all the damage Forge is doing. Bard ultimate does nothing, Shinmo finally failing, and then Wings able to kite out pretty nicely here. Nice gold card coming out from Fofo as well, but in the end, it doesn't really matter. Vici are just so far ahead.
Yeah, I don't know where all that damage came from. That must have been Forge doing the damage onto Wings in the end there. Oh my days.
Yes.
5,500 damage. Good lord. Well, Forge is feeling good right now. You know what? He's hit his 2-item spike, and that's all you need. Now he's in Kassadin mode. And that fight is evidence. I'd like to present Exhibit A.
Like, the only hope in this game for BLG is if Kingen can get massive. You know, he can find...
Hang on. Sorry. How on earth is Fofo 70 CS down? He's just been in mid lane all game. What excuse do you have to be this far behind against a Kassadin?
I mean, to be fair, he can't sit in a lane against the Kassadin at this point, but...
We've not been at this point for very long.
I was going to say, I mean, to go with your point, Twisted Fate has done nothing this game. Fofo is not at a good game. BLG as a team have not had a good series, not had good shot calling. Yeah, there's not too much to say for BLG.
It's not looking good.
The one thing to say is that improbable it may be, if Kingen can find a couple kills, get some gold in his back pocket, try to become a big split push threat, that is probably your only avenue for BLG.
Also, Shinmo's Bard looks pretty good. I'll give him that.
I'd even say in this series, Kingen showed some life, but, you know, just...
I mean, Kingen nearly got a 1v1 kill onto Cube when he was on the Maokai versus Wukong.
The early laning phase, even in this game, he was playing quite well.
Yeah. And Wings on the Kalista actually looks okay. Here we go, Cube stunned up. Is the Destiny going to be used? But no real follow-up as Ike's now going to go in. And iBoy's here to follow up. Hung can't really get into the fight, though. It's 4v5 right now. Shield across the team. Ike's low, but walks away with his life.
Ooh.
Nice kill onto Forge, though, and suddenly things are turning around. BLG. Fofo locks a blue card, and that's going to be the end of the fight.
I don't even know how they actually were able to kill Forge without any member of Vici going in as well. We didn't see Ike's walking forward, Cube nowhere to be seen, and that's a huge win for BLG.
That was actually massive from Fofo there. I've flamed Fofo a good amount during this cast, but he has Unsealed Spellbook. He went for the Exhaust to start the fight. Exhaust Forge as he comes in, and it means that his team can shut him down.
BLG's another team where we know the individual skills there. We know Fofo had good performances, especially in the middle and latter half of spring. Obviously, always one of the best players in the LMS region. Kingen is a player that, despite having a small champion pool on his effective champions and his style when played around, looks very good. Wings is a player with lots of potential. Let's actually see what happens here. So BLG are the ones engaging. Ike walks forward aggressively, gets a bit low, and then both, like you said, Fofo gold carding and holding down Forge, and then Forge jumps forward aggressively alone, so that's actually a misplay by Forge, but good exhaust coming out from Fofo as well, and they guarantee the kill. Had Forge just come out of the Tahm Kench ult back and they go in as a team, probably would have looked a lot better for Vici.
And I think maybe Forge, off the back of that last fight, feeling a little overconfident, right? And I think understandably so, with how that last fight went, with how dominant he was. You kind of get into Kassadin mode. It's kind of like Lee Syndrome, right? Where you throw the Q, you have to follow it no matter what. Kassadin, once you get a few items, you kind of just want to 1v5.
It's actually insane when, you know, you start feeling these champions. Especially, I think Kassadin's a good one where...
Ooh, hang on. Fofo gets a stun onto Hung. Ike's is going to be kept alive, but it's Hung that's in trouble. Gray skin, but he actually dodges away from that one. Kingen can't finish off the kill. He's onto Forge now. So the shields come on through. Wings trying to do the damage. Vici hold on though. Nobody falls down in the end.
That fight had a lot going on, and actually it's probably not going to end.
Here we go, back on in. Forge stunned up though and denied for a second fight in a row now. Nice little kill there from Wings. And Kingen tries to find his way back on in. Bear in mind, iBoy not doing anywhere near as much damage as he wants to.
The one awkward thing about this composition is the fact that realistically, Trundle and Jace are not the kind of champions that want to run forward, right? You do want to like peel and poke and kite back, but still, the coordination is not there for Vici. And of course, you would never want to be the team getting engaged on because that fight did start with Ice getting caught out by Fofo. Still though, we are 2.5 minutes away from Ocean Soul for Vici.
If they can get it. BLG got the last one.
I mean, BLG's been in control the past 2 minutes.
Suddenly, they've just got massive signs of life here, and the God lead has basically vanished entirely now. The big question mark is Forge, right? He needs to find a better way into these fights, because Fofo is just gold carding him the second he comes in and denying everything.
It's like if you think about it, in isolation, Vici scaling definitely wins out. But the way both of these comps work out, you know, neither of them have really set engage. BLG's last 2 wins was Vici running into them. All of Vici's wins were BLG running into them. So that's kind of going to be the key decider in these fights. Can you find a pick, or if it does get to an extended fight, typically the one running forward is the one who's losing out.
The last one in is going to be the winner. Cube here getting onto King, and Fofo moves down to try and help his top laner, but it's not going to work out at all. Fofo has to just waddle away from that one. Hung going to arrive in the mid lane just to make sure that nothing can be taken, and in the meantime, Forge gets a chance to split push.
The two like key members of the teams are the ones who are kind of disappointing now. 3-4-3 on Forge and 1-4-2 on Kingen.
Wings jumps over. I'm kind of surprised Forge didn't go for something there, but obviously it would have been 2v1. Fofo's in trouble. To the Skies comes on in, and he's used 2 abilities. That's all a Twisted Fate's damage.
The silver lining here is the fact that he's going to be up at 40 seconds and that Dragon's up in a minute, but just misplays coming out of BLG Soul Laners.
I would argue that that's more of a bronze lining at this point, because Ocean Drake is up in 45 seconds, and I think that Vici are going to be able to set up massive vision control, and there's not going to be a whole lot BLG can do about it.
Yeah, I'd say bronze lining is probably a better term.
And now we have to see what BLG are made of here. 25 seconds. They need to get on in towards this Dragon Pit. They need to try and set up some semblance of vision before Vici just take control of the area. Shimo just getting blasted. Cube looking pretty good on this Jace as well. 4-1-2, despite having a lot of pressure this game. Hung TP's in.
Realistically, I feel like the ball's still in Vici's court to where BLG can't run forward aggressively, but if BLG do kind of awkwardly position, Forge can just try to instantly delete someone.
Destiny used so early here from Fofo, and he can't commit to going in here. This is going to be Ocean Soul given to Vici now, and surely the fight off the back of that, it's such a huge advantage. They're all going through the magical journey. Dawning Shadow, and Wings has fallen already. Kingen tries to turn it back onto iBoy, but he just doesn't have the damage. He's going to go down as Forge ain't finished just yet. He wants more kills. He wants himself a quadra kill. And this is all about Vici. The Summer team is real.
And Forge was just practicing those last engages for this moment. Death timers are long enough. Vici can just push the base.
Koma's dream is coming true, and it's a 2-0 here in favor of Vici Gaming. BLG fall apart at the last moment, and the team fighting looking immaculate at the end of the day.
And I just don't know where BLG was in this game and really the series.
Vici Gaming are going to do it in the end. BLG not showing up, but Vici with very, very clean gameplay and intelligent drafting as well. Playing to their win conditions, understanding how their competition